Hey, 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 Crown Content Publications followers, viewers, supporters, listeners. We appreciate your support. How are y'all doing out there? Happy Labor Day weekend. This live stream is kind of overdue. I've been trying to get on here all day, but I still appreciate you guys' love and support out there. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm Arthur podcaster Tetta Sherry Whitney, Miss Whitney. I put my whole name out there because some of you guys might be new to my channel. This might be your first time joining a live stream with me. And as a independent and self-published author, I'm always encouraging, what I mean, my followers to go check out some of my work on the Amazon Kindle platform in 2022. You can always look me up under Arthur Tedder Sherry Whitney in the search bar, Amazon. Uh, I have publication titles like short story novels like God Save the Queen, for example. That was a 2020 publication, I believe, 2019 publication. And then we've had a few publications in 2022, one titled The Shoes She Walked In. You can also look that one up under Arthur Tedescherry. And then, like I say, you type that name in, there's going to be most of my publications pop up for y'all there. So feel free to support me anytime. Go check out my work. I encourage you guys to please leave a review. Leaving a review is free. That's how writers grow. We learn where we can work on things or where we can improve or where we can tone down it when we have the support of you guys in that way too. And a review is always free. I encourage you guys to do that for other writers too. You can leave reviews on blogs, podcasts, YouTube channels, right? You might not look at it as a review, but when you comment, it's just a little support. You comment or drop a little comment in somebody's live chat and things like that, just like on social media and things like that. So, boom! I just wanted to put that out there. Um, I hope you guys are having a happy Labor Day weekend so far. What y'all doing? Y'all barbecuing? Y'all traveling? I saw an article that did say travel rates were pretty much up in the U.S. already this weekend. If you are traveling out there, Crown Content encourages you to be careful. We wish you safe and positive travels. We hope you and your families make it back home safely. And just remember to be safe. You know what I mean? Even when you're traveling to kind of like uncharted territories or territories that might not be considered your own. Just being watchful and mindful during any holiday. People find holidays as a reason to turn up, party, sometimes act crazy, drive drunk. So you just want to be aware and watchful out there this Labor Day weekend and stay safe for sure. Jackson, Mississippi will remain in our prayers and positive thoughts from the Crown Content Publications YouTube channel. We're about to get off into that in a minute. And just myself, like I say, if you're new to this channel, welcome. Me as a podcaster, there's always certain topics that I find, relevant to uh, uh, worthy, discussion worthy, open discussion worthy. You know what I mean? When I get on my platforms, because some of these situations that happen around us, not only have they been happening for quite some time, there's always probably something we could do to play a part, even if it just starts in our local communities, our local cities, hometowns and stuff like that. At your workplace or at your child's school, whatever it is, it's one person playing their part at a time. And that's with any problem that anybody would realistically be looking for a solution to. You know what I mean? Why not uh have individuals look at themselves and what they're doing to make changes, you know what I mean, to either make a situation better or lessen it or make a situation safer, whatever it is. um Before I jump into the Jackson, Mississippi topic, though, I do want to thank you guys for your support out there still thus far. I haven't really been on my channel yet, but I noticed that a lot of YouTubers go through that. We might not see them for a couple weeks, a month. I was like, well, I guess this is probably how it goes sometimes with this. But I'm back, guys, and not only am I back on here because I had a topic I wanted to kind of go over tonight. I kind of want you guys to be tuned in tomorrow at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. If you support and follow the Crown Content channel or any of our social media platforms, um, or my website is another place y'all can also keep up with current, you know what I mean, recent publications or other authors we're probably working with or progress in my life as an author, just stuff like that. You can always check out on my author and self-publication business page, okay? And that's going to be www.contentcrownpublications.com. This is where you can find more information about, you know what I'm saying, maybe reserving a slot to work with us, to network with us for promotion and marketing of your small businesses, services, or, you know, work. So we like to work with entrepreneurs in that way too, not just writers, but we do mainly target writers. We try to, you know what I mean, give them the recognition, do our part, play our part out here as a small business to promote and market independent writers, independent freelancers of all sort. But we know what it's like to be self-published artists or self-made producers or self-made artists out here. You know, we want to help these guys, you know, push their brands, their logos, their you know, their businesses, their work. Okay. So boom, we're gonna have a few artists on the show tomorrow night. That's why I say y'all stay tuned at 7 p.m. Make sure y'all are tuned in to the Crown Content Publications channel. I'll probably go ahead and have that link up for you guys where you can go ahead and hit that notify me button. You know what I mean? When that live starts playing, but we want to start supporting more artists for sure. You know, that comes to music as well. Don't be surprised if you see us with our promotional interviews with producers and models and different things like this too. Because, like I say, independent freelancing, you could be doing that could make you any type of entrepreneur, of course. And we want you guys to know we support you out there, especially after the setbacks of a pandemic. Any business still striving, pushing, putting in that effort. To keep their services or work going, we totally support them at Crown Content. So contact us anytime, guys, too. You know, you can find our email and our business hours and phone number as well on the Crown Content, you know, website, contentcrownpublications.com. I thought I had yes, contentcrownpublications.com. Those of you that are kind of, you know, you're not newbies to my channel, you already know, but I'm sharing that website for you guys again. And it just came to me like, man, I really need to make sure I am pushing, you know, the way I want to help when it comes to not just independent business, individual minded individuals, but also those who might be, you know, independently educating, choosing to independently educate their K through 12 students. And this is the reason I bring this up. There are so many. For example, it's going to seem like, man, she's jumping topics here, but I'm not. Look how something as little or as big as climate change effects, I should say, okay? Because there's been like multiple spots across our nation uh, that has been experiencing floods, right? We're just talking about floods. And that's why we're about to talk about Jackson, Mississippi, too. In 1 second, and just for the record, I'm not from Jackson, Mississippi. If you've been following me as an author, as a podcaster, and things like that, then you know I am from Texas. I'm a Texas native. But anyways, our hearts and prayers are with Jackson, Mississippi. It just, I was even young myself when it was first, you know what I mean, mediatized and everything about Flint, Michigan. But I was old enough. I remember being old enough to understand what I was hearing about that area and what people thought about it at that time too. So with me being old enough to definitely understand this crisis right here, you know, now I'm in my 30s, right? I'm an adult at the time of this event at this time, but I know that this is not the only place in our nation that has experienced flooding. Now we could talk about flooding, we could talk about droughts, we could talk about, you know, like, yeah, look how places didn't have rain at all, and then when the rain come, these floods seem to be, you know, slowly affecting Y'all got to understand how much damage really a flood can do. Any type of major weather crisis, of course, and we all saw medical crisis too, like health crisis. The pandemic cost, I'm sure, the country a lot of money. So now you got all of these weatherization changes. You know what I mean? Places flooding that we probably hadn't heard of flooded, even if it's a small city, town somewhere. All these places by Yellowstone, y'all don't remember that? Over there was flooded, right? People's land was being damaged. And I just want to start the conversation with us keeping that in mind first. Like when weather damage happens anywhere, even in Pakistan right now, I know y'all been seeing that in third world countries, they are also having these random sporadic floods, not just floods that floods that are costing a lot of damage. Then you got a lot of forest fires still going on, right? Because of heat. I think it was the UK, Europe, I've been seeing, been having like extreme heat. But I remember years back, Australia had been going through that and stuff like that. And I want us to keep in mind, you like, now how should go from homeschool parents and supporting them and remembering to always market my resources, referrals, and consultations that are available when you contact Crown Content. How do the two tie together? Something as simple as a recent flooding in Jackson, Mississippi, affecting the water system in Jackson, Mississippi, also affected businesses. This means schools. I think through some of my research, I'm seeing that some of these schools had already been shut down. They're going to be shut down for a little while. I'm not here to tell y'all how long. My work is not as a reporter. I'm a writer. I'm a author. Maybe I'll get into blogging and reporting one day. But I'm telling y'all what I looked into so far. So you had schools shut down. You had hotel motels. Probably, I'm not gonna say their businesses were affected to where they were losing money, because I remember as a Texas native, when that snowstorm happened in early 2021. One second, guys. Yeah, I remember when that snowstorm happened, how when it affected pipes and people's electricity and things like that. Hotels and motels were still open because you had a lot of people whose pipes had did damage to their homes. Now this wasn't flooding, this was just a bad, I can't even call it an ice storm. It was ice, it was snow at that time. And you had areas like this that were affected in Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth, all of those surrounding areas and counties right there. Arlington all went through that, and the motels and hotels were still in business when that bad snowstorm happened in Texas at that time. Now I'm just telling the truth. Expedia, all of them, they were making money still. Airbnbs, even though this snowstorm had affected many properties, or there was no heat, there was no hot water and stuff like that, it was still they were still making money. And then many people were complaining at that time, they were even jacking up prices for rooms, right? They knew many people needed a room because they're going to have to get replaced, whatever was from the storm in the first place, right? Uh, but these the motels at the time just didn't have any mercy. I remember that because I know with Jackson, Mississippi, what they were saying was, people are mostly black people, and that's why this unfortunate event happened in their area. It wasn't just mostly black people when the snowstorm happened in Dallas, Fort Worth, and all that either. So I wouldn't blame that at that time. It was an area that happened to be unprepared for that type of weatherization storm. You know what I'm saying? At that time, you can't always blame. I mean, I'm willing to see it that way. We can't. I'm not saying that's not real, that city officials sometimes might not do their job 100%. I'm not saying that's not true, that we shouldn't vote and make sure we know who's in office, so that when stuff like this is happening and water treatment, nobody has an answer for why the water is contaminated just from flooding and stuff like this. You have you're able to more see through that circumstance because everybody pitched in together as a community. They were voting, they were involved. Everybody knew what was going on, but they're saying that these treatment facilities, these water treatment facilities in Jackson, Mississippi, had been kind of needed. You know what I mean? Maintenance, if I can put it in those words, right? And it was just sad to read about that and learn it. Like, y'all mean to say y'all been speaking up in this city for years? They say they get 2 or 3 boil water notices a year. Like, that's been going on in that little small area. Once again, this is me trying to speak on the topic just with an open mind, not looking at it like, oh, this happened because a bunch of black people stayed in that area. Even though everybody wants to look at it like that right now. Same thing with Flint, Michigan. But like I'm saying, y'all know there was other small places that were affected by flooding recently. Like Vegas. I think I heard about Vegas. Houston has gone through that several times. We're not talking about what causes flooding all the time just yet. But it's safe to say, hey, that's a weather thing, right? That's something natural. That's something that's out of our control as citizens, right? Or as residents of a community, nature. So I'm like, if it was the flooding that contaminated the water, we can't, you know what I'm saying? If it was the weather, we can't blame city officials and state representatives and stuff like that, can we? And we all know taxes are taken out. We all pay taxes for different things, and you trust the people, that you're paying your taxes to. I get it. You got a lot of hurt people, right? Going through not having water anywhere. Because, yeah, we went through that in Texas. And then everybody went through it when the pandemic first started. So y'all remember, y'all know, y'all got a taste of what it might be like to not have water at any given time at your granted access, at your disposal. Uh, like we're used to just having access to water. And people have been, before this unfortunate event in Jackson, in their own ways trying to tell people. Nobody want to hear it right now, but stock up on water. Stock up on, stock up. They're not just saying on water, but forgive me if I'm wrong. This is really scary. That's nothing to play with. One of the most recent, news stories I saw on it, it was a pregnant woman they happened to be interviewing in Jackson, Mississippi. And speaking for the people, they probably talked to many people on the news, about this situation. I heard the National Guard is out there. And we're talking about an area of at least more than 150 residents. They're saying severe floods caused this contamination. But yeah, that's another thing. They say they was already experiencing high bills or 2 or 3 times a year water boil notices. They also apparently went through something else in 2021. I know we did in Texas, but I wonder how many other states, when I read this, went through that winter storm mishap, because I do believe it was other areas, but it does say 2021 here. Winter storm knocked out their water system for a month before, apparently. So National Guard has been out there. You got ministries and different people out there, organizations trying to help distribute water. Of course, with things like that, that's always beautiful, but the people are still saying they're only able to distribute so much. What do I mean by that? You go through those long lines in the heat, and mind you, it's hot out there too. So yeah, just like they might have had flooding in any area that's had flooding recently, it's not over once the water begins to, um, deflate and the flooding is kind of easing up. It's still getting back hot. We talking about climate now. Are we blaming politicians here? Climate, how deep does this get? Because if the climate gonna act up, shouldn't we be more prepared in areas, you know what I'm saying, to help the people for stuff like a water crisis? So, I mean, at this time, I can't do nothing but commend the National Guard for being out there and distributing water to those people, because I can't be out there right now, but we can definitely all play a part. Find people that are doing work to contribute to Jackson, Mississippi, and donate that way too. So I know how to go about it. But I think that we should be more prepared in any local community in this nation, especially if we see just random climate ricochets any and everywhere at any given time lately. you know what I mean, to have some type of funding in place. The same thing always happen. These places have to declare a national emergency and then kind of request help. I believe Pakistan been doing it, or wherever it is in the Middle East that is currently flooding, like and had bad floods like that. So they're requesting help. I saw something else. They're predicting to try to have one early next this coming week. One treatment pump is expected to be repaired. So let's hope and keep positive prayers and thoughts towards Jackson, Mississippi. Hope they're able to get on their project and get something going to get that water clean. And I wouldn't trust it even after that. I would go ahead and still boil it, right? Even soon. I mean, I'm sure they would have to do that, but it just sounds like something unfortunate for anybody to have to go through. I'm putting this information back up here too, really quick. Y'all give me a second. I wanted to market. That's why the babies were on my heart again, because it's usually kids that are somewhere suffering too. We got to remember that. I told y'all the schools shut down in Jackson, Mississippi. But maybe you have parents out there that looked at situations like that, because one weatherization crisis can really change your whole life. It can cause your family to have to move, or do different things with their finances, take out loans they didn't expect. Let's really think about it. So they might consider something like homeschooling for a little while, especially if they've already sent them home because of the water crisis and they're not being clean water or not being able to flush toilets at school. It makes you think about them in more ways than just, I get the water thing, but if there are, because it was people saying, look, we just can't afford to move because the water's dirty right now. It's something to think about. We just can't afford to move. So when you think about that, they're probably just having to readjust where they are. That's with any crisis, even with the war going on in Ukraine. Uh, they might have to just adjust, right? Until they figure out what they're going to do as a family to move forward. So I just want to invite you guys again. This information you see on the bottom left hand corner. Uh, it says Crown Publishing Content would love to hear from you. We don't just help writers and authors and stuff like that. Parents that are going through that transition, they might need to talk to a homeschooling consultant, coach, somebody that can help them with resources, referrals, show them where to start in their state when it comes to going that direction. Because people don't think about that. But yeah, what you gonna do if a school gets shut down? We thought this could only happen for COVID or you know what I mean? Health reasons they shut down a school. Yeah, if water is contaminated, as y'all see, like in Jackson, Mississippi, this could be another reason that boom, now your kids are out of nowhere expected to go back to virtual learning, which there's nothing wrong with. Crown Publishing Content doesn't, we're not against public education ever, but it's things like this lately since the pandemic and the effects that it's had on our nation, why people even decided to go the homeschool route in the first place. I've already did my segments where I kind of did the statistics of how numbers have risen when it comes to parents who just rather take the homeschool route. As far as the other percent that ain't went that way yet, they're more saying, look, it's just more, because we also, a lot of us have bills to pay. We don't know how we can manage teaching our kids from home, and going to work and working shifts, which anybody can understand. And it sounds like a very, it makes you want to help. It makes you want to come up with a solution. That should never be a reason why someone can't, teach from home to do. So that's why where we started our grant referral consultation businesses, small business owners or independent, what I mean, sole proprietors and people like this is they're working alone, they're working their business on their own. So you can always use resources and grants. And so we like to have services available, or organizations that we can point people to when it comes to people trying to work on themselves as small business owners, or single parents, for example, who might be freelancers, entrepreneurs, and want to independently also educate their children. That should totally be possible for anybody who wants to do it, right? So that makes you want to refer people to childcare resources in their state, in their community, workforce resources, independent business, not just grants, but resources and referrals that can help you, right? They can coach you, they can give you the help you need, because starting a business all by yourself is not easy. Ask any entrepreneur you know out there. You have to be very dedicated and committed to the work. Everybody, when they get that spark, that bright idea to start a new business or to start a new venture, right? It's always exciting, but you have to follow through with that like you would with anything else. So boom. That's not to discourage anybody. Once again, we support, promote, market, and just praise entrepreneurs uh with our organization and with our small business and how we help independent freelancers. Another thing to keep in mind, guys, this is another way to look at it when it comes to our either grant referral consultations to help you small businesses or independent freelancers out there. This is just like another way I'm finna give y'all to look at it. So a way to look at it, um, you have a lot of successful entrepreneurs, independent business owners. We just don't look at life this way, or I don't think a lot of us vision ourselves. I don't think a lot of us even know what we fully want. And it's hard for you to plan a life to, I don't see how people are out here setting goals that don't even revolve around what's truly going to make them happy, like what they want for their life. And this is what I mean. There are independent freelancers right now who travel for a living, right? I'm not saying they just do that for a living, but whatever their work consists of, it involves them having to travel, right? And they're traveling for either free, they got a company paying for it, because you can kind of work independently for companies too. This could get deep. I'm just telling y'all how people are already out here living and how I feel like people need to know what they want so they can know what now they can decide, okay, do I have the potential for this, or is this a way I want to live? It doesn't have to take it being a pandemic or weatherization problems all over the nation for you to look at life this way. But are people still thinking about what it is they want out of their own lives, what their purpose is, what they would like to see themselves doing? If they're not, I'm here to help them. So there are already successful independent business owners who travel, or they live independently. And guess how? Their kids don't go to public school. You got a lot of wealthy people's kids who do. They might go to a private school or academy that they pay for out of pocket. But a lot of them, I'm telling y'all, this is how some people really live. And you don't have to be rich or elite to choose this option for your children. It's like I gotta break it to people another way. But hear me out. um you can very well find yourself saying, look, this works better for my family. Being able to educate my children from home, being able to hire a virtual tutor, being able to find a program that breaks down a curriculum, or find a program, I'm sorry, a curriculum writer like the guys at Crown Publishing Content, us guys. Like I say, the business hours are right here at the bottom left hand corner if you have inquiries or questions. But if you visit my website, www.contentcrownpublications.com, it's also going to have more details for parents that might be interested in learning how we can help them with curriculum planning, or parents that might be interested in just booking a homeschool consultation altogether. It's just crazy. I don't like for it to sound like I'm the circumstances of the nation is why I'm pushing being able to offer homeschool resources and consultations, but in a way, that is a reason why I'm pushing it more. And networking with other homeschool parents or other homeschool organizations and networks and platforms to help parents, because you don't have to be that traveling agent or the traveling doctor or the traveling military man all the time. You don't have to be at that income status level. And I think that's what people think. It's like, how am I going to make money if I choose to educate my children from home? The pioneers before us, before there were public schools for certain people in this nation, how were their children being taught? They must have worked land, their own land at home. They tended their own food. I know it sounds like a big transition, but it's asking yourself again that question: what is going to be the best option for my household, right? Some people look up and discover they saved a whole lot more money a year, you know what I mean, educating their children at home. The school teachers, I'm not talking down on public school. They might send you a list every year when school finna start back. Like, this is a list, and this list probably gonna come out to about $275 worth of school supplies, right? And then there's probably gonna be another $500 for school clothes, 300. I mean, let me try to be reasonable here during the pandemic, because I know people pockets tight. But at least parents are helping us out when they come out and tell us from their experience. Yeah, this is how I help my family. And I'm sure it has other, it's always going to be an adjustment because you might notice, well, now my light bill is higher. Everybody's at home learning now. Or maybe they're at home learning 3 days a week. What are we doing the other 2 days a week? That's another thing. People like the freedom that comes with setting up a homeschool system for their children and their families, right? You control the schedule, you control the hours, you control the days. They're taking this class or that class. You're making sure they're still getting that PE health fitness in their lives, getting them out. You can still take them to field trips that relate to maybe the content or the what they're learning, the subject that they're learning, the topic that y'all are covering that week. You can take them on a field trip that helps them put it more in perspective. Things like that just gives you more freedom when you choose to homeschool. So I definitely could advocate all day, and I could tell you why parents have said they've shifted this way. But when I also look at how climate change and weather, something like flooding, affected places like Jackson, Mississippi, and public school just, yeah, hey, here's an announcement. We are going to be closed at least for the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks. Any parent should be ready for that. It's been so many changes the past 2 years in our nation. Any parent should be ready for that. And what plan do you have if school was to, okay, virtual learning? Oh, well, the teachers are going to teach my kids virtual if that happens. You still need some type of plan. You ask yourself how you're supposed to work and homeschool your kids. But when schools get shut down, like in Jackson, Mississippi, and they're kind of forced to virtually learn because there's been a water contamination issue from what happened with the flooding, how are you going to go to work then? Because now they have to go virtual. How are you doing it through the pandemic? Keeping those same, whatever your survival, plan was when the pandemic first happened. We saw tissue shortages, water shortages. Because, I mean, now, if people are going to these distribution sites to get water, they did not have water stocked up, or they had to use water like they didn't think they would have to use it quicker than they thought, right? To bathe with, to make their coffee, whatever they got to do to try to survive out there right now. Boiling water and all of this. Do you think these guys in Jackson, Mississippi had water stocked up just because people were saying stock it up the past year or two? It's just questions that make you wonder. And our surrounding cities, communities, and states looking at this every time a city is affected this way, whether it was like something like Hurricane Katrina or whatever it is, regardless of what causes the flooding. Do we know how expensive it is for those type of repairs? Do we know how expensive it is? Let's talk about that too, to start over, guys. This is why oftentimes a lot of people don't want to leave places that are damaged, like where their home is. They're just going to stay there, wait it out, take the resources that's given to them right there. And sometimes it is because they can't afford to move. But even if they could put the work in and make that happen, I'm telling y'all, starting over after crisis, national states of emergencies in states or cities, especially after weather, it's very expensive to start over. Even if they had a small business out there, it got flooded out. I'm just saying what Jackson, Mississippi been going through, you know, or what the people in Ukraine been going through. So yeah, the extreme heat too, it's just something else to keep them in positive thought and prayers about. It's one thing for water shortage and contaminated water in the hottest heat of the summer right now. Even the National Guard on the pictures I was looking at about this story that's been out there passing out water and everything, they got these hot army fatigues on. They just look so hot, guys, even under the tents and everything, right? And they just trying to pass out water. It make you feel bad because they out there trying to help, I suppose, you know. But yeah, it's in people's head, it's more expensive to start over and move and have to rebuild somewhere else and get a new job, even if they could and they knew it was possible. In their head, it's just expensive. So why wouldn't we think of a plan, or why wouldn't we be paying attention like, okay, if a national state of emergency happens in my local community count, like what is my plan? Okay, anybody could not expect something to happen with water, but if we really been paying attention, there's been droughts everywhere. The flooding is dirtying up the water in certain places. So this is really scary. Why wouldn't we be stocking up? I can't tell people what to do. I hope we're doing that out here. It's just sad to see, Mississippians going through it and having to go get donated water and all of this. It make you wonder, like, was people, it say the stores, all the Walmarts, the local stores and stuff out there, all the water is like sold out. It's really scary. So people have been driving, I guess, to different cities, drive as far as they need to. But what I tell you, before moving, it's expensive too. You're going to drive cities, like, counties away every time you need water. Like, how long gonna do that? Just move. I told y'all, people look at it like moving and starting over after a crisis like that is too expensive. But when I compare it to, I feel like moving and starting over is always worth it, especially if you're sitting up there seeing that your local city officials and stuff do not care to treat the water, that y'all keep going through this with your water. That would be a sacrifice, an investment me and my family would have to make. Water is nothing about it. And Jackson, Mississippi, unfortunately, is not the first. It's just so sad, like, minority city to experience this with water. I believe Flint, Michigan is still residents, are still might be going through things with their water out there. It's really, really sad. So y'all just remember, because y'all probably didn't catch me at the beginning of this, but yeah, tune in tomorrow at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, right here on the Crown Content YouTube channel, where we'll be supporting another independent business owner. This one is an artist or whatever, and we just kind of want to show love, give him time to talk about his work and how we can support his music and where they'll be performing at soon and things like that. If you know an independent freelancer, entrepreneur, business owner who might be interested in promotion and marketing of their business in 2022, visit our website soon, www.contentcrownpublications.com. This is where you can find a link to reserve a slot to become a guest on our show soon, or tell whoever that information, because in 2022, why not get the word out there every chance you get on another podcast that your business and your services are ready to assist the community. Why not do that? And our promotionals are free just for 2022, only on the Crown Content Publications podcast show. Okay. um it's just really unfortunate. Y'all make sure that, if you can donate or send help to Jackson, Mississippi, we're doing it. It just sounds, they don't have like direct access to water and stuff like that right now, which is, even if I'm telling y'all, their kids got to stay home right now. School is shut down. School was shut down anyway for Labor Day weekend for the most part, but they had already kind of like shut the schools down too. So the water bad if they doing that. That's not even monkeypox or COVID. And I just want parents to pay attention. With this the type of times we living in, do you have a plan if something like this was to hit you? For any reason, you got to go back to virtual learning option for your children, but y'all saying you don't know how you can homeschool your kids and make a living, you know what I mean, and work. You say that now, so you don't choose the option of saving money, choosing to pretty much educate your children at home, because it's a lot of parents look at it as a lot of work. Like, that's a third. They might got 3 kids in different grades. four kids in different grades. So they don't want to take the time out to, make all those kids study on the levels that they need to be at right from home, because they might not see the benefit of how that routine, that schedule actually gives them more freedom. Actually, probably could put their kids more in a position to graduate earlier than ever. You know what I mean? Get started on their life ventures earlier than ever, just because they independently, their parents or guardians chose to independently educate them from home. See, there's perks and benefits to that. You want to know your options on all sides, because any type of emergency, my point is, could lead parents and students back to this anyway. What do we think happened? What do we think is going to happen if there, nobody want to hear it, if there just so happens to be a bad monkeypox outbreak spread in this country? You think the schools are going to be open? What is your plan? If another COVID outbreak happens, and I don't care how many vaccines they come up with, to me, there's gonna be, I don't know when, but there's ultimately gonna be another shutdown. It's crazy. I can see that happening. It's either gonna be for the health of the people or something the weather might cause. You know what I mean? Like a lot of damage. I mean, because look at what's been going on lately. Places you ain't heard of floods happening in centuries. It's been flooding. Glaciers are still melting. And I just feel like, as a at least mild, I'm not saying the smartest thinking individual, but a mild thinking individual that I am, would tell me on the inside, my instincts would tell me it's time to start figuring out whether I have a plan or not when it comes to state of emergency situations. How do you survive if you can go from having easy access every day to water to drinking water at like horses. They drink when they're led to drink. That's it. Like when it's available, when it's being given out, now you got to ration how much you're drinking. And the hottest heats of the summer, it doesn't sound fun. So thank you guys for tuning in to another segment with the Crown Content Publications YouTube channel. We're publishing and marketing me. I'm not going to expose, the name of the artist we're going to have on the show tomorrow. I just want y'all to tune in. Show your support tomorrow Mountain Time at 7 p.m. for sure. Right here on the channel again. Happy Labor Day weekend to you guys out there again. I was going to talk about teacher burnout a little bit too, because it kind of ties hand in hand with what I'm saying about the school shutting down. We never know how it's going to come about. But if we have too many teachers burnt out, that's a problem too. We can do all we can, go up on the pay and all of that. For some reason, it's only the fourth week of school starting back, and you got many teachers act like they already just burnt out. Burnt out, they're already feeling underpaid, or they just, to me, the teachers came back to their jobs this year with an attitude, right? And you think they would be a little more relaxed. Like, look, it looks like there's not many mask mandates at most schools anymore. You're not as pressured. You're not having to virtually teach kids. So why come into the new school year with old baggage, old stress, old emotions? It's like, let's keep our teachers, also our educators, and these guys that are working at public facilities, just encouraging the masses on my channel and platform tonight. Keep these guys in our thoughts and prayers too. Check on them this year too. It just seems like they're already under a lot of tension and stress. And I'm like, it's not like there's any monkeypox spreads already, or anything like y'all had last year. And we know if it gets too bad, they're just going to close it down. But a dedicated teacher is still going to be expected to virtually teach those students. And that's where they got burnt out at last time. Anyways, we try to keep our connection at Crown Publishing Content to virtual tutors, private tutors out here that are still working hard, and they still are always available to help you guys if you want to become independent educators for your children, and hire tutors on the side that can help your child right from home. I'm telling you, they don't even have to be there in person. That's what video chat and all of that stuff does. That's what makes technology what it is today. It makes this type of work still possible, these type of options. So that's all I really had to say when it came to teacher burnout. Is it just me, or are teachers feeling like, can y'all see it? What have you been experiencing with staff and educators this year so far, with your kids returning back if you did choose to send them back to the public school system? What has it been like for you so far? Is it smooth sailing? What are the food programs like? Y'all can email us anytime too, or comment below your answers and stuff too, because I'd like to come back on here and talk about it, especially in different states. I might bring it back on another podcast topic. Some people complain about the food programs, or they notice that free and reduced lunch. Y'all know it's called free and reduced because it's either free or the reduced price is simply reduced. I'm hearing that even reduced prices have risen in some states. That's when you know a real inflation is going on, right? Reduced was always reduced in the first place because they know that those are those that student is 9 times out of 10 from a low income family household. Therefore, they qualify for free and reduced lunch. Free and reduced lunch probably used to look like, I mean, I might be wrong or a little off here, probably like 35 cents, 45 cents for a tray, right? Y'all probably never paid attention to that, but it's very important. In school or even as parents, when you sign those papers, you probably never looked at that. Boy, reduced lunch probably like $1.25 now. That's just for a tray. So you decide, like, man, am I gonna send the kids lunch, or I mean, for my family, that's what we've been doing. You might as well send a lunch. I might as well just, either way though, you're not gonna beat. I'm not gonna say we can't beat the inflation, but you're not gonna miss it. You're gonna end up, and I know we still have couponers out there, people that are always looking for hacks and ways, and they can tell people that they can save money. But I just noticed that during the pandemic, no matter how income savvy you are, savings, a lot of people had to spend up their savings. Soon as the pandemic, they spent it through the pandemic. I've been seeing people talk about that on articles like, man, my savings been depleted. You know, they might feel that way, or they might say, man, it's hard to keep my savings up now. Things going up, gas high. I know gas is, people are hopeful because gas prices are starting to drop. But we got to remember that the winter is coming. We really do. Just encouraging you guys, look, when you see what's going on around you, it's not just for you to watch the news and say, oh, that happened there, that happened there. Anything you see happen on any part of the globe or any part of your, especially in your own country or nation, why wouldn't it make you prepare or make you think, okay, what if that happened here? Or what if that happened in my community? Or what can I do to prevent this from, me being in this situation? I wonder, do people do that? It's like I'm encouraging others while in the midst of this war, this nation myself. And that's how I can tell people from experience. If you've never been through, and I'm sure a lot of people who survived Hurricane Katrina can tell us, but if you've never been through like some type of, because see, that's traumatic too. Not just, y'all know how people go to war, they might come back with PTSD and stuff like that. Something else they say is traumatic is just experience of natural disaster in itself. Experience of a natural disaster that was unexpected, that you weren't prepared for, and whatever it took you through. Yeah, it could leave scar, it could leave PTSD, if not worse. But definitely, it's a form of trauma. That's why really after every national state of emergency or during every pandemic and events like this, weather that cause damage in an area, to me they should have just as much people they have giving out donations and stuff helping people. They should have counselors and stuff on standby right there on call, mental health professionals right there on the scene, because going through something like a flood or lightning strike attack, these are climate weather changes. Like, this is natural stuff people can't control, right? But it's beginning. You're having more deaths through floodings and more deaths just through different type of weather causes. Yeah, you need mental health professionals just as quick as you have everything else. If psychologists can admit that, yes, natural natural disasters, natural state of emergency type experiences in people's lives can cause trauma. You know, I'm sure because having to just relocate, anybody going through that unexpectedly relocate, lose all your stuff that you held on to. When we had that bad snowstorm in Texas, I saw people have to get rid of stuff that was their deceased loved ones, and they were not happy about it. You know what I mean? But it was damaged by the snow, by the ice. You know what I mean? Yeah, what like molded and mildew and stuff like that. So they had to get rid of it. And I just didn't understand at that time. I might have felt like I was too young to be seeing or experiencing. I had learned later, yeah, stuff like that traumatizes people. And I'm like, I happened to got to hear that lady's story. She's like, this was my parents' stuff. We've had it for X amount of years. We've been paying in storage right here for years. But yeah, the weather damaged all of their stuff. So now we have to throw it away. Stuff like that traumatizes people. And I just wonder, do we have as much mental health help and professionals on standby, on call, ready? Like has their business risen? Have they noticed an increase of people coming in there? You know what I mean? Or are they putting their services out there enough? Do they know that the things that have happened in this country the past 2, 3 years has definitely traumatically affected people? Things that were against their quote unquote will, things that were against their right. Sometimes people felt like things were against their right, especially if they were being told, hey, be vaccinated or be fired. All of that was new to people, but it was also very traumatic for your leaders to just try to deem you being uncooperative, for other local citizens around you to try to tell you what to choose at the time for your life. That was traumatic for people. And I still believe I see that trauma on people still. They had never went through going to a grocery store and not being able to find toilet paper. They had never been to a grocery store where they could always easily access whatever they wanted at their disposal, and not been able to find water. And I'm just reminding you guys, you got residents in Jackson, Mississippi right now that have been reminded of what that's like, and it could happen to anybody. It could happen to anybody, like you randomly. Okay, they've been talking about the Southwest droughts lately. All the dry weather, all the lakes drying up. I believe the last I saw, the Colorado River drying up. What's the key word again? Water. Humans are so powerful till they can't tell us. You don't. I always said it anyway, though. You don't let men make you feel like they're all powerful. Like yes, you respect laws, you respect rules, you respect, your community. But remember something about humans. Every time an unexpected thing happens, a crisis, people panic. They go crazy immediately. It's crazy. And we should remember this. We all saw it firsthand when the pandemic started. What's my solution? I mean, what's my advice to it? Um, we become more aware. Be more aware of who we are in the midst of survival. Be more aware of who people you think you know are in the midst of survival. Like when survival is y'all only option. Ooh, that's deep. When survival is your only option, who are you? Who are you in the peak of taking that last step, that last mile to get to where you need to go in life? So that you and your family, I would say your immediate loved ones, when it's survival on the line, it should make you think about that too. A lot of us are out here still trying to pull train weights, loads, and wagons of baggage that shouldn't even, matter when it comes to our survival. I'm sure even the older pioneers, like people who were real settlers, ranchers, and pioneers, and even sailors, they knew that you could never pack too much. You can never pack too much when it comes to being on a voyage or a mission for survival. You're gonna take yourself down. Your whole load is gonna sink and go down before you even make it to where you're trying to go. It's like you don't give yourself a chance. And then if you are gonna bring others with you and others are gonna bring things, hopefully you're pulling things that can help contribute to the whatever y'all are trying to build when you get to where you're going. That's how I ain't telling nobody how to think or how to view life through a pandemic, but it seems so simple. It's just a time for people to really um like I tried to explain at the beginning of this segment, how are you gonna know where you want to go if you don't even know what you want? And I believe a lot of people know what they want, but they don't realize that what they want is not what they thought they want until they get it. It's crazy out here. And who has time to deal with unstable adults who don't even know, they don't know. And it's already survival of the fittest in America right now. We got all kind of weatherization, inflation, money problem, staff shortages still. I just talked about the teacher burnout, but there's still people, unfortunately, walking off jobs, quitting. I don't know, just giving up. I mean, and I'm sure they have their different reasons why they have to do it. Some had to take off work for a while. I can completely understand that. They had to do that. Like, what do you mean you had to take off work? If anything, we have to get money. But no, you had people that had to take off, make different household arrangements because the pandemic affected their households and lives this way. And you still have people, that are having many changes in their life right now. Anyways, guys, thank you. Y'all don't forget to go check out that website, learn more about those homeschool or publishing service for writers, publishing services, consultations for writers, artists and authors. Or those homeschool consultation links you can find on the website www.contentcrownpublications.com. Thank you guys for tuning in with me live. Share this video with a friend. Don't forget to give me a like to show your support as well. Tune in with us tomorrow, Mountain Time, Monday, Labor Day, September 5th. We're going to be interviewing a few artists, show them some love on our channel. You don't want to miss it. Uh, Once again, I posted those business hours. You can find the business phone number on the website, www.contentcrownpublications.com. I can accept your inquiries or calls between Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. Mountain Time. I forgot to post it up there, Mountain Time, y'all. And we can talk promotion and marketing services for independent writers and artists, entrepreneurial segments or interviews, and small business grant consultations as well. Okay. We appreciate you guys' support. Y'all have a good evening out there. Be safe, be careful. Make sure y'all stocking up on water and staying hydrated. Make sure you're keeping those immune systems right and up, and stay healthy. Take care of yourselves out there. And until next time, thank you.